There it is.
All right.
We on, we on.
We
What's
on.
up, brother?
How you doing? Can you
Good,
see me?
good, man.
Can you
Huh?
see me?
Yup. It's loud and clear, man. Am I supposed to turn my camera
You
sideways or
must
something?
got to turn it on. I can't see you.
You can't see me.
Right.
You can't.
Uh-uh. You can see
Now you can see me.
me. No, I can't see you.
Turn yours on, cause mine's already on.
My camera's on. It's let's see.
I can see me. I can see you. I don't know how to.
Yeah, that's weird, man.
I can see you.
You can see me? Yeah.
I can see you.
All right. What's up? What's up, Trey Swole? What's up, Greg?
What up, Greg? What up, Greg?
Yeah, man. How you doing today, my brother?
I'm good, bro. I'm good, man. I'm making it. Just enjoying Thailand, man. Just living my best life, man. That's it.
That's
Stress,
good, man. I just want.
stress free.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's good, man. I just want to introduce you, man. Coach D&D, man. We're gonna be doing a new virtual and live podcast for you all, for you fight fans and stuff. Coach Dorian and Coach Durwyn, man. We're gonna call this deal "Fighting Is Life," man. We're just gonna break down, have topics about fights, talking about life, the coach's life, what we go through as coaches, what we've been through as coaches, what we do, the state of the fight game, what's going on in the fight game today, what's going on in the fight game yesterday, what's going to go in the fight game in the present. Coach Dorian is a good friend of mine. This man has worked with the likes of so many talented fighters and coaches across his career, and he was also a hell of a fighter as well. Been on the Ultimate Fighter show. Just a good brother, man. And I just like showing the world that two brothers, two coaches in the game that's been around that were the same age, been in the game and been around the same time and been around coaching for a long time. What we have to offer as we're not making this a race thing, but as black brothers that we contribute to this society, to this world, just besides coaching, but what we also contribute to the world and to these fighters, what we do. And a lot of times I want to shed light on people like us, man, and what we go through as coaches and as brothers and men, and me and you share a lot of the same likes with that stuff, man. So me and you've had great talks off camera, and I just like to share some light, man. And I just want you to, if you can, man, just tell me just a little bit about yourself and like where tell the listeners where you're from and how long you've been fighting and coaching. That's kind of where I want to start right there.
Yeah, man. Originally, I'm from Baltimore, Maryland. Been doing. I started in the '90s. Got my first taste of going to Thailand.
Wow.
Uh, and I want to say it was '98, maybe end of '97, beginning of 1998. Got my first taste of Thailand coming over here. Fought a lot, man. I got about, I don't know, 80 Thai fights, MMA fights.
Wow.
Coach with guys like Matt Brown. Obviously, that's probably my the best example of my product. That's my brother. That's like family to me. Got the chance to work with Stipe
Wow.
for his title fight. They brought me in there, gave me the opportunity, and it was a real blessing to work with them. Phil Hawes, guys like George Rizal, Rich Franklin,
Mm.
Justin Hayes. The list goes on and on and on. I
Yes.
mean, I've been blessed, man. I was one of the early guys in the game to had the opportunity to not only coach guys, but be able to get in the rooms with some real good coaching, which I think, around legendary coaches. Because sometimes you got to do some apprenticeships, and had to
Yes,
have
sir.
the ability. And let me not forget my brother Dave Branch, who got the ability to be around his brother as well.
Mm.
Work with him, also learn from him. That's another guy that's like family to me. Him and Matt, they like brothers to me. So I just been blessed to be in the game
Yeah.
and have a lot of these doors be open to me. From those guys, from my, from the things I did to help them, they also in return helped me as well. Them
That's
two
right.
brothers, speaking of Matt and Dave, they allowed me to get in the rooms that I might not be able to get into. For instance, I've been into the Olympic Training Center in Colorado with the wrestling room, you know, off the strength of Matt, and got to experience that. And so Dave got me in, you know, into Henzo's in New York, and just I've been around a lot. So, you know,
Yeah. I've seen that, and I've seen that you have I've seen some of your fights online, man, and I've seen some of your highlights and fights online, man, and you was a hell of a Muay Thai fighter, man. I want to say that I'm impressed by your skill set, and
thank you, bro.
and I see I'm impressed by your knowledge and what you're doing, and just your strength and your mental strength as a man. It takes that as being a coach. It's not just a physical strength, but the mental strength that we have to possess as being a coach as well.
Well, I said it before. You and I talked about it a lot of times. With losses, as a fighter, you have to be selfish. As a coach, you have to be selfless, and
That's right.
that gets lost a lot of times. And I had a good friend of mine, a guy by the name of Mark Beecher, and he said the best thing ever that I heard, man. He said that coaching is the only field where you will create your heartbreak, and you will do it over and over again.
Ooh.
And what he meant by this is the only field where we will take a guy, build a guy up, do everything we can for this guy, put all our effort, take time away from our family, miss holidays, miss birthdays, you know, basically give away, you know, time that we can never get back for a kid. And at the end of the day, we can get him from ground zero to that USC level. And I know you have a history of putting guys in the USC as well,
Right.
from scratch to the USC. And then to have them, they can just turn around one day and say, you know what, fuck off. I don't want nothing to do with you. And then what he meant by that is then we'll have to do it all over again, and take a whole nother kid and hope that this time the kid don't screw us over.
That's right.
But because we're good at what we do, we literally create our own heartbreak.
That's right.
Because of our skill, you know, and they'll go to another coach where maybe not has been proven or whatever, and we'll continue to build. And every time we do it, we just hoping, man, I hope this one don't fuck me over, because it's our job, and it's what we pride ourselves in. Is we almost give them the skills and the abilities to be able to fuck us over, because without us, they couldn't get to the position where they could fuck us over.
That's
it's
right.
Our skills and abilities. So that's what I think he meant, Beecher, when he said that. Like, we are the only profession where we will create our own fucking heartbreak, and then do it over and over again. Like, we just a glutton for punishment.
Yeah.
Because we passionate about what we do, that's the shit we got to endure with.
Yeah. I heard that also a saying too, that if you ever want to become a coach, prepare to have your heart broken. Also, coaching is a thankless job. It's definitely a thankless job. Yeah, thankless job. Yeah. So that's it, man. And we you know, and that's why this is important. These kind of topics and conversations are important, so we can shed light on these things. I'm actually writing a book. I'm actually writing a book about the behind the scenes in combat coaching. I've already done the rough draft of it, and the name of the book is called Wake Up Coach. Wake Up Coach. And this book is going to be able to hit all coaches across all the world from all different kinds of sports. But it's actually my personal journey and what I've seen, what I've endured, and what I've dealt with behind the scenes of coaching, the stuff that nobody talks about. You know, there was a brother, he ain't a brother, but he is a brother of the coaching. And do you remember this guy? He was another pioneer coach back in the day, Robert Follis. Have you heard of him?
Of course.
Okay. See, he killed himself.
I remember the story. I was in Vegas. I don't know if we would cross paths, but I was living in Vegas. But yeah, I know him very well. Right. Legendary coach, yeah.
Right. And I watched a documentary on his life. Everybody get a chance, go check that out. It's on UFC Fight Pass. And let me tell you something, man. It touched my heart so much because nobody understands. Nobody truly understands what somebody's really going through, nor do they really care. Long as they're getting out what they're getting out of you, they really don't truly care what you go through. You know what I'm saying? And ain't nobody telling what that man. And some people knew that he was going through some things, but they still needed him as a coach. They still needed him. What about if he needed somebody. But
That's
then
what
when he
I'm
died,
talking
now
about.
everybody want to say, oh man, we knew he was dealing with this, we knew he was dealing with that. That man killed himself when he was the day that he was supposed to be on his way to some fights.
Yeah.
I believe in Canada with Brian Caraway and somebody else. He was supposed to be cornering somebody, and nobody knew the deep pain that he was in. And he took himself to his favorite hiking spot, favorite trail, and favorite field to do this stuff to himself. And nobody knew truly what he was dealing with. And that's why I say a lot of us need to band together because truly nobody cares, man. There's times that people don't realize, times that we've cried on our own or by ourselves or didn't have money to do this or didn't have money to do this and do that, but we're still there for everybody. And it's so easy for people to write us off or other coaches to come in and try to steal what we have done or they allowed them to steal what we've done because they can't steal nobody unless they're not willing to go. Um, and then, they talk about you behind your back, even at times I've dealt with going behind your back, trying to take the women that you've dealt with, your exes, or creating drama. Seeing that you are going through things and seeing that you fall or seeing that you fail, and don't lend a helping hand when they have the means to do these things. This is the stuff that we see and that we endure and that we deal with. I've been coaching for 20 years, and I've seen this stuff. And I tell you what, if I knew that this was going to be what coaching was about,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I would have done this. I don't think I would have done it. But then again, I'm glad that I did because what it did for me, what coaching did for me, is open up other avenues to to my calling and my purpose, which is working with the youth, being a community activist, going to the schools and implementing programs, book writing, as I said, podcasting, implementing programs in schools and doing motivation and public speaking. That's what coach has done for me. So it didn't go in vain because it opened up doors to do other things. And the people that actually do appreciate it, um, let me know, and it's helped them change their lives, whether they became world champions fighters or not. It's changed their lives in different ways. But man, it gets you to the point where you cannot trust nobody, brother.
Yeah, I've been.
Unfortunately, you can't trust nobody
In
because even the ones
my
that you think, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say in my experience, I mean, I've been blessed in the ways that had the guys that I've had with me, like the Matt Brown, even the Brief Town, Steve Dave Branches, and some of these guys, George. I've been blessed, but I also been very particular in who I work with,
Right.
um, because of those various reasons. So while I've had those blessings, there was a point in time I was living in Thailand where I would only come back really for Matt. So, I ended up was there for Matt, which is how I ended up getting involved with the Stipe camp because I was already in the U.S. And really it was Matt and then also Dave when Dave needed me, because he really did a lot for me. But those two guys, man, it was really, I wouldn't, Matt actually said it on the Joe Rogan podcast once that I really wouldn't come back for anybody other than him and Dave because I was working for my own camp.
That's right.
And I was a fighter as well. And also, I seen so many of my friends and brothers go through this shit as coaches and heard the horror stories that they had where I was to the point where I was like, to be honest, I never set out to become a coach. I kind of just fell into it because I had a certain skill set and I ended up being a fighter coach. And
That's right.
in a lot of ways, it took away from my fighting career because there was times where, while I did accomplish everything I wanted to do as a fighter, at least I feel, and I've done everything like I wanted to do as a coach. I feel that there's no telling what more I possibly could have done, like icing on the cake or sprinkles on the ice cream. But because I had to take time away, and I was thrusting at trying to be selfless and selfish,
That's right.
and the back, so something has to sacrifice. So in a lot of ways, while my coaching kind of was propelled a little bit of my fight career, there's no telling where it could have gone. But to go on what you were saying is like back to that Robert Follis thing is that growing up I had a coach. I knew a coach in Brooklyn did the same thing. Killed he killed himself. Went in his car, shot great, put a lot of guys in the NBA and a lot of stuff. I don't
Right.
want to get into the story, but great man, mentor, got a lot of these kids off the street. in Brooklyn and started putting them in, on the court and things like that. And just one day, was going through some stuff, and then just went in his car, man, shot himself in the head with a shotgun, man. And so one of the things, when you speak on that Robert Fuller's thing, why I don't know the whole thing of the situation, I do understand the harsh coaches that as I've gotten deep in the game, knowing more people, is that our success is a lot of times accompanied by a lot of jealousy and envy from what we've done. So it to me, it's almost at a certain level of treachery with the dope game to a certain degree, minus the violence, you know what I mean, and all the other things that go. But the level, and it's almost now, we come up at the same time. To me, there was a little bit more of a code in them days in this game. Like, you had a little bit more of a code, and you knew everybody was in the traps and the trenches, so it was a little different. Now you have coaches that have never done nothing.
That's right.
Basically, they just watch YouTube, a bunch of YouTube, and they somehow slid their way in. And so when I say it's like almost like the street game, it was almost like there's a little bit more treachery in this, in my personal opinion. At least from the time I was coming up, we was coming up in that era.
That's right.
In the 80s. But I see it now. There's a lot of loyalty. Like I said, I've been blessed by the guys, because that's another reason why I stayed away from a lot of people, because I know the type of loyalty that I possess and the type of character and the content of my character. And I have to be careful, because a lot of times that loyalty can be taken advantage of. Like, I speak on Matt and Dave. I know them same brothers that return that same loyalty to me. And it's been that way for, so I said I've been blessed with a lot of the guys. I think now I've been in almost 30 UFC fights with a bunch of different people. But like, I know, the same, loyalty I have for Matt and Dave, they've shown that same loyalty to me. But I see a lot of these kids now that I'm looking at in this generation, there's no more code. There's no more code. And essentially martial arts, in my opinion, is dead. There's no more honor. Meaning that they'll go to the next guy, Nobody's like, and this is how I equate it. Like, when we was coming up in the 80s, now you from Houston, so similar things.
I'm from Fort Worth.
Dallas, Fort Worth. Yeah. Sorry, man.
No problem.
Dallas, Fort Worth. But it's the same principle. And it's like, you can remember when you was doing young, you had OGs, and the OGs would tell you, young blood, calm down, do this. And you would listen to them. We was wild, we was ran bucks. When the OG came out, there was always that one. It was like, hey, y'all youngins, y'all gotta fall back, calm down. And then, you're gonna listen. The kids now, they don't listen. There's no respect. Even when we was coming in the coach game, you still had these, like, the sensei relationship in the role. So that would be the equivalent of like the OG. You had the sensei, and it was like, look, this you need to do. You wanted to learn, you wanted to receive that knowledge. Nowadays, these kids don't have no loyalty to nothing. It could be a lot of stuff. I started with, I remember a time when what happened in the gym stayed in the gym. Now I think of a time, man, if you get caught or whatever, this all on the airways. If something happened to you, you get a cut, it's all on the airways. If there was beef in the gym, it's all on the airways and social media. And I'm just confused. I remember a time where, what happened in the gym stayed in the gym. It wasn't outside ears shouldn't be privy to those type of to that type of information. And I like to see it go back to that. That's something that really kind of bothers me, and like I really would like for it to go
Everything is now more about clout chasing, as the young people say. Clout chasing the internet. The internet has really provided, although it's provided some good things for people, it's also messed so many things up, because there's no honor no more. You're right. Now there was these guys, like you said, I was always respected to my instructors and my coaches, and now these guys don't. There's no honor. Like you said, it's like babies raising babies now. Same thing with the coaching. Coaches are trying to coach people that they shouldn't be coaching. The blind leading the blind. Now you don't have to have credentials to coach. Now you don't have to have put in no work. You didn't have to have no certification. You don't even have to have no fights now. You
Can
know,
I
there's
say
a lot of coaches, huh?
exactly what you said? You don't have these coaches now. They're not coming up through the regional scene. They're
No,
not honing craft. They're not sitting
no.
there and having the taking the guy from the regional scene, from the amateurs all the way up. Now you have coaches who happen to show up at a gym, and the gym might just so happen to have a UFC fighter pass through, and they just like, hey, basically I call them pad prostitutes, because
Yeah,
what they doing is they going over to them. Everybody like free pad work. Every fighter want free pad work, so they
everybody.
prostituting their work to these fighters, like, hey, let me do some pad work with you, and then they propping it up like, I work with this fighter and this fighter, and the reality of it is, no, you was a hooker to offer pad work to this fighter, and you don't really
Right,
care. You haven't honed your skill and your craft. I'm not saying
right.
that me and you came out and we had to hone our craft. We didn't just end up at the top working with UFC guys. We had guys in the regional level, in the amateur level. We had to coach guys through wins. We had to coach them through losses. And the biggest thing now is the amount of coaches that I see that are just basically pad prostitutes.
That's
All they
right.
doing is they running up to they lucked up and they in a right position,
That's
meaning
it.
that they in the gym and they have UFC fighters who happen to come to the gym. They're not coming for that coach. They just coming to that gym, and that pad prostitute jumps up and says, "Hey, you want me to give you some pad work?" And
Right.
then they recording it, doing pad work with him, and saying, and then all of a sudden trying to like, "Hey man, I can choreograph routine. I can work with you. I can do this." And then what ends up happening, they get that fighter fucked up because they
That's
don't
right.
understand art of coaching, and
Right.
because they become so they make it hard for guys like me and you because they
That's right.
prostitute their services. What ends up happening is these guys get so caught up in that they don't realize, like, man,
And
these guys ain't
they'll
coaching.
sometimes end up going over there to those
They'll
guys. And you said
go
something
to
backing up. You said some of these guys, you said one thing important. Some of these guys be in the right position. I noticed this. So some of these guys
yeah.
did not put in the work, did not get started martial arts training. I started martial arts training when I was 7 years old, 6 years old, and that was by default. And I
Right.
didn't even want to become a coach. I became a coach by default. So
Yeah.
some of these guys, you're right, they be in the right city, the right state, they know the right people, and then they get put in. Sometimes they come in as they learn the game, and I respect that. They learn the game by watching, and they become assistant coaches. And next thing you know, they become head coaches to some of the best fighters in the world, and they never really had to put in that actual work, versus somebody that actually been in the ring, been in the cage, won fights, lost fights,
Or
been through the
trench.
grind, went through the certifications, went through coaching in a garage, coaching in his garage, coaching in a recreation center, coaching for free, went through that stuff from the ground up, built his team from, that's what happened to me. I built my team from an amateur boxing team to an amateur MMA team to a pro boxing team to a kickboxing team to an MMA team, all the way up. I did that from the ground up. As I was coaching, I was still competing as well, here and there, taking fights, doing it. I never got a chance to do everything. I am a title holder in IKF, International Kickboxing Federation, but I never got a chance to do the things I wanted to do because I was too busy worrying about other people. But I know what it feels like to be under that fire. I know what it feels like to win. I know what it feels like to lose. I know what it feels. I can speak from a coach's point and say, "Hey, this is how it feels." I know what it feels like. I know what it feels like to grab people and bring them up, and only for them to leave you and drop you and go somewhere else where they thought was better or they thought was it. I know what it feels like. A lot of these guys don't know what it feels like to go through what people like you and I go through. And I'm gonna be honest with you, being a black coach that came from things, that did street stuff, that came from the streets and did these kind of things, and had to be judged by a skin color and people not knowing what you really know because you're judged by the way you look. You're judged by the way you look until they hear you talk, till they hear you speak, till they see what you can do. Then they respect you. But what happens is the opposite sometimes. Sometimes these people respect these other guys first by who they know, the position they're in, and how they look before they even realize if they even have a skill set or not, where me and you are having to prove over and over and over again that who we are. And through the grace of God, we've done that, and we do that so we can speak about these topics
Yeah.
all the time. And that's why it's important that You know, people like you and I get on this platform and speak about these topics, speak about these things, and give these people this game, give these people this knowledge, give these people this wisdom, so they'll understand.
But
Like, these are people who really went through it.
this is a jewel I'll drop on this one that I've always wondered. In no other job industry can you show up and not have to give your CV, resume, or references. So these fighters now, and the fighters always saying that, you know, look at yourself. I always tell fighters, look at yourself as a business. So when you run into these pad prostitutes, as I like to call them, I'm going to coin that term, pad prostitutes. When you run into brokers, ask for them. Ask for their CV or their resume. Ask for their references. What other job can you go in? Who have you built? Okay, if you saying you're going to train me, tell me exactly who is the best representative of the style that you plan on teaching me. Are you going to show me defense? What are you going to show me? The elbow game? Are you going to show me grab? What exactly are you going to show me? I need to know. And then give me a reference. Who can I call? Give me a student of yours that I can call. Give me somebody I can call that'll vouch for everything that you're saying, that you put down as on your resume. These guys don't have these resumes. They're not doing it. This is the only job I know of that you can go with no resume and no references and get hired. And I'm not taking nothing away from jiu-jitsu. I'm not taking nothing away from wrestling. But I've said this before. Like, I consider myself for everything, coach. Meaning I have a purple belt. I have an understanding of wrestling. You know, not high level, but, you know, of course, my whole main thing in style is going to be striking on the feet, you know, and incorporating a complete MMA game. But obviously my first foremost forte is on the feet. But back to what I was saying, though, is that there's no standard being these coaches for these new coaches coming in that are held to. Nobody's asked these guys, yo, let me see your references. Let me see your resume. Show me everybody that you work with. And I don't mean that you held pass for. I need a list of fighters that you've actually worked with multiple fights. Because I always say anybody can pay a prostitute to hold for one guy for a camp. Okay, now you got to, at least for these fighters, y'all got to start asking yourself, if a guy worked with a guy for one fight, why he didn't bring him back for the next fight? Why is it you see a whole track record of he worked for this guy for one fight, that guy for one fight? Something's going on that he not bringing this guy for multiple fights. Then where was he with the regional level? Where did he come from? Who did he apprentice under? Who was his coach? Or what rooms was he in to learn this skill set? That's why I'm calling it like paperwork parties now. Like, you got to start having these coaches show what's your resume, and then I need references from that resume. List fighters that you have worked with. And they don't all have to be the UFC level. We all got to start somewhere. Start listing guys you work for. Because too often guys will be, like I said, going back to what you said, they'll be in the right place at the right time in the gym. They'll process themselves. They'll record it. Then they'll go and tell everybody, oh, I worked with UFC fighter X, Y, and Z. And they'll leave out the part like, hey, homeboy happened to just show up at the gym, and I like a good hooker, I ran over to him and asked him if he wants some free pad work. And then he just kept coming back to the gym, so I was giving him free pad work. But then when I got into his corner, he got his ass whooped. So technically, you know, I'm 0-2 at the high level. You know, I work with. I haven't won. I'm 0-2. I'm 0-3. I'm 0-4. I'm 0-5. Like, you know, all the guys I work with have gotten finished. Yeah. And that's really bothers me is that, and I want to start calling the paperwork parties. Man, when you start these guys sitting them down and saying, okay, where you at? Give me your resume now. Give me all your references. And start calling these people out. I'm saying no disrespect to jiu-jitsu or wrestling. But when it comes to striking, if you lose in jiu-jitsu, you're going to get tapped. If you lose in wrestling, you're just going to get pinned. If you lose in striking, you could die. You could, or your brain could be severely altered. That's right. But for whatever reason, we get more bullshit coaches trying to consult themselves striking coaches than in any other field. I can't do it in jiu-jitsu. I'm a purple belt. I can't go in there and get nobody take me serious and be nobody's jiu-jitsu instructor, and they can't with all these black belts floating around. That's right. Whether they're real black belts, whatever, they're black belts. As a purple, I still wouldn't be in there because I don't have that resume. That's right. I can't with the knowledge of wrestling that I know and say, let me be your wrestling coach, I don't have a resume for that. And nobody will take me serious. Yet, striking seems to be the only art where you can be the equivalent of a white belt in striking and somehow find yourself working with a fighter as a striking coach.
That's
And nobody
right.
has, but in the field of striking, it's like a shootout. You can die.
Right.
Motherfucker die, and if you don't die, you can become severely altered.
That's right.
Meaning that you paralyzed and find yourself in the iron horse. And if you don't know what that is, the wheelchair. Because
That's
you
right.
can't walk no more. You've been scrambled because you allow some fucking pad holder to front as a coach, some pad prostitute who has no resume or nothing coaching you, and now your brain is altered for your life. And
And
back
what
he
I
don't give a
found out, what I found out too, not to cut you off, is that you put in the work, and then somebody else to come in and get the credit for it. That's what I've dealt with. That being the coach that I am and being
Okay.
friendly that I am, I've invited other coaches in on my assistance and on my coaching, and then all of a sudden they get to rise off of what I've
Right.
done and off the
Right.
hard work that I've done. And I've helped them, and that's no problem. But if you don't want to give the credit, you don't want to give the love, and now all of a sudden you just this big ass coach and you taking care and you training all these fighters and all these people off of what I done, off of what I done for you, and you don't want to give props, but then behind closed doors you make it seem like you better than this and better than that when I'm the one who brought you in the game. So I have a problem with that too. So I have a problem with people that do that, and I've dealt with this stuff. I've watched, and I'm not going to say, but there's a specific coach in Dallas that I remember started out as a personal trainer and didn't have much experience, and he built himself up, and then all of a sudden somebody had some money, said, hey, let's open up the gym, and all of a sudden they the best gym in the Metroplex, best gym in Dallas. These guys are on ESPN breaking down fights when they shouldn't be doing that. That stuff irked me, man, because it's like, I've never stole people. Most of the people that I've got with either came to me from somebody else. I either rebuilt them, restructured their skill set, or helped build them up from the ground up, and been successful at doing so. So no, I do take personal when people are don't have the skill set to be the coaches that they have. I do take it personal when fighters aren't grateful, aren't thankful. I'm seeing that a lot on this underground fight scene that I be dealing with too, because I do a lot of exhibition boxing. I see a lot of these guys out here do this stuff. Is the most delusional thing I've ever seen in my life. These guys are out here with these underground guys, and these dudes are out here coaching and can't even fight themselves out of a wet paper bag, and cannot hold pads, cannot do nothing. And I'm seeing that on an underground level, but what's sad is I'm seeing that even now at a high level. I'm watching guys right now, bro, that got maybe a year experience themselves, maybe have one fight, 1 year experience themselves, and have maybe a couple MMA fights, and should still be being coached. They should still be coached themselves. These guys are still being coached themselves, and all of a sudden trying to build a fight team. Dudes is 25 years old, 24 years old, 23 years old, 26 years old, building a fight team with minimal credentials. This is what I'm seeing. This is the world that I'm seeing. This is the world that we live in right now.
Nobody apprentices. Think about it. If I want to have a skill in the most skilled trades, you will have to be an apprentice under somebody. When it comes to skilled trades, now I don't understand why fighting is any different. If you look at boxing, art of boxing, a lot of these guys, these coaches that come up, they could tell you, I came under this guy. Freddie Roach, I believe, was under Eddie Futch at one point. Like, all of these guys will say they were mentored by this great teacher or that great teacher before. I know there's guys that I'll consider mentors in my own right, and I still look to them for advice. And they're great coaches in the game, and they'll find me ask. Even the things I've done now, I still reach out to them. You always need to have that mentor to keep you humble, keep you learning and evolving. Like, what's happening now is like people don't realize it's a skilled trade. Like, who have you apprenticed under to learn your craft, to learn what it takes to build a guy? Like, you were saying that you invite a guy into the gym and like this, that's a prime opportunity for somebody to say, look, let me apprentice under you. And then after a while, let me then go to you and say, look, can I get your blessing to go over? Like, for instance, I still go over to my senseis in Holland, Ryan Simpson, legendary fighter, and coach, world champion. I'll go over there now and still sit there and like, now that I'm done fighting, I'll pick his brain. And I just sit there and talk and like ask him. And the funny thing is all over in all the different disciplines, you can see the real teachers and the frustration they feel from this new generation.
That's
I can
right.
see it from the Muay Thai guys, these legendary Muay Thai teachers I've been around. I can see it from my sister in Holland. I can see it from some of these MMA coaches. It's just a level of frustration. And I think a lot of that goes to these guys are getting these fly-by-night pad prostitute coaches that are really messing it up for everybody. Instead of having these real coaches, it's going to sit these kids down and say, look, this is what you do, man. Look, I care about your career. So if I tell you don't do this or don't do that or move this way or move that way, it's because I have a track record of doing it. But you got these, what's happening, these pad prostitutes, they're essentially they're yes men. Because just like a good hook, they want their money, they want their time in the spotlight, and they want to get something jumping. So
You said a key word. Yes, man. I hate it.
Yeah.
That's one of my worst things in the world. That's what happens with a lot of these fighters. And this is where I don't fall in the category of this. I am not going to be a yes man. If you're not going to listen, you think you want to do what you want to do, that's fine. You can do what you want to do, but do it somewhere else. I don't care what level you're on. I don't care if you're high level in the UFC. I don't care if you're low level. I treat everybody the same. Obviously, when somebody's at a higher level, you got to train them different than somebody at a lower level, but everybody gets treated the same. If you want to come in the gym and you want to do what you want to do, you want to talk how you want to talk, you want to be how you want to be disruptive and be crazy and do all these things and not pay and not do this and not do that, man, then you can go somewhere else. Because guess what? I went and paid my dues. I used to allow these guys to come in and say, hey, and give them chances and give them opportunities over and over and over again. But now I'm running out of that. So either you listen or you don't listen. You know, I'm very easy to get along with. I'm very easy to work with as a coach. I'm very understanding. I don't step on nobody's toes. But at the end of the day, I don't care what level you are. If you come here being this way, and then I don't respect coaches and I don't respect nobody who sits up there and let these other guys, let these fighters pimp them out and ragdoll them and treat them like hell, and then just so they could be a part of the corner, so they could be a part of the limelight, or so they could be a part of the situation. I don't respect it. I won't respect it. They can say what they want to say about me, but one thing about me, and everybody knows this, is I stand 10 toes down as a man and how I am as a coach, because I've let it happen for years. I let people walk over me. I let people treat me like this, and I got nothing from it. Just like you said, you crash that out, you help these people do that, they move on, they don't care about you, and then now you're back at square one doing that. So now what I learned now as coaches, and I want to say this to all the coaches in the world, you have the opportunity. If you got the skill set, you got the credentials, you have the opportunity to pick and choose who you want to work with. And there's nothing wrong with picking and choosing who you want to work with. It's going to save you. It's going to keep your peace. It's going to keep your sanity. It's going to keep your dignity and your pride as a man. That because once people see that they can treat you a certain way and act a certain way and talk a certain way and be a certain way to you, then that's the way that they see you. Because people only give value to what they think they see as value. You can be valued, but if you don't value yourself, or people don't see that you value yourself the way you should value yourself, or put a price tag on the price that you believe that you deserve and stand on that, then people will put a price on there for you. And that's just the number one. People put a price on there for you.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, you know, will it ever change? I don't really know. Like right now, I mean, you know, in good situation, you know, but it's like they're always shifts in the back of the mind, because in the back of my mind, and I'm sure it does with every great coach, because we are good at what we do and we passionate and we can. This is what I don't think these fighters understand. If they do understand, it maybe goes back to their selfishness, or maybe it's this generation. A lot of times I notice, you know, like I said, I've been blessed. But I've seen so many of my peers and friends and stuff is that a lot of times these fighters will act like they're doing us a favor by letting us coach them. And it's like, wait, it's the other time. I can make, if you think you got, like, and this is what I was seeing with some of my friends. I had to tell one of my coaches, he made a guy, got to the elite level, guy fucked him over. And I said, what are you tripping on? You can make another him. He may not be able to ever find another coach that cared about him like you. You made
That's right.
You can make another one. That's not a problem. And that's the thing. These guys, like the fighters can come a dime a dozen because a great coach can make a great fighter.
That's right.
That's the thing behind it. You need that. Do you know what I mean? There's never been some self-made fighter without the great coach.
That's
Now,
right.
when somebody they get taken by some pad prostitute type dude or whatever, but the reality of it is, great coach can make great fighters, and it's our job to do that, and that's the hard shit. And so, will the game ever change? Like, I don't know. I don't know. Each generation seems like to get weirder and weirder as I'm pushing closer to 50. I'm starting to sound like that bitter old guy, but it does like each generation is losing less and less of a moral compass.
Yeah. Yeah.
Integrity.
The moral compass is not there no more. Like you said, the martial arts spirit is not there no more. And I just, like I tell you, man, I wish coaches would show themselves more value to themselves. I wish I would have done that early on, but all I was doing was I came in the game with a good heart. I came in the game
Right.
with the pure heart and trying to really truly help these young men and help these young women
Oh,
do that. Then I found out that later on that's not mainly reciprocated, and they think that you're expendable, and they think that you're expendable at all times. So you got to show them that you're not. I'll show you that I'm not. I'll show you this. I'll show you that I don't need you. Really, I'll show you that as long as we be in this game, that I'll probably be coaching longer than you'll be fighting.
yeah.
I'll show you that how you act and how you are will come back on you in that cage, in that ring. It will. And a lot of these people think that there's no such thing as reaping what you sow. There's no such thing as karma, that they can treat you any kind of way, do anything they kind of. But see, I'm smart because I'm older. So I see this stuff, and you got to watch them hang themselves. Because at the end of the day, sometimes you can tell somebody till you're blue in the face, but until they have to go through it themselves.
Right.
And sometimes when they go through it themselves, they still don't get it. They still don't understand it. They still don't change it. They still don't honor it. So sometimes people will never get it. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But see, at the end of the day, we can't derive from who we are as men. We can't derive from who we are as brothers in this game, because if we do, then like you say, then we'll be like the pad prostitutes, as you call them, the pad prostitutes of these things. No, I'm not going for it, man. I've been in here too long.
We have a skill set, like I said. We can never be that. We'll never be that because we have actual knowledge and coaching pedigree. And you said something. If you're not careful in this game, and I found that for myself, and like I said, I've been extremely blessed with the people. But over a while, if you're in this game long enough, from my experiences come with bad gym owners and things like that. The longer you're in this game, and I've seen from a lot of my peers, that's my age, things like that, it'll turn your heart black.
It will.
All come in this game with a pure thing, because being a coach is selfless. You taking time away from you, literally, and that's what these fighters don't understand, is you are literally giving up your dreams and your goals to help another person achieve their goals and dreams. Because our goals and dreams as coaches is not, we weren't 10 years old saying, I hope Johnny comes and I'm gonna make Johnny a champion when in 20 years, when I'm 40 and Johnny just turns 20. So we literally are helping another person achieve their dreams and goals while keeping eyes on the sideline. Because the time we working with them, we could be focused on something, and you have a family. We could be focused on working with our kids. We could be focused on trying to start our business. We could be focused on, I don't know, becoming an astronaut. There's something that we want to do, but because we've chosen the thing of coaching and being selfless, we are sitting there taking the time away from that, because it's only 24 hours in a day, and when that first one goes away, you can't get that clock back. It don't carry over to the next day.
That's right.
So whatever we use it for, but we sit there and help another guy, another human trying to achieve their goals and dreams,
and then they piss on you, and they really truly piss on you, brother. They really truly piss on you.
It'll turn your heart black in this game. If you in this game long enough, and it'll come. I think that's been my biggest battle. It's like I said, I've been blessed with fighters that I've worked with, but I've had to deal with the gym owner and different people because I haven't had my own gym. So I've been dealing with other things, and even seeing other type of coaches, these pad prostitutes, that envious and jealous of the things I've done. And I ain't been nothing but good intention the whole way through. I should be a lot wealthier from this game.
That's what makes this so much more hurtful and disrespectful, is that these people know that your heart No, and
Yeah.
we perfect. Nobody's perfect. But these
Nah,
people know that your heart and your attention is pure in trying to love and help them, and they
yeah.
still have a demonic something in their spirit to go against you and hurt you and do that to you. And I see it, and that's why now it's like, no more. I don't give them, I don't, to me, I hate to say this word because I don't really talk like this. But at some point, they do have to become dead to you. Because if not, then it's going to do some things to your spirit and corrupt your mind and your heart to be and it's going to hurt somebody else that actually needs you and actually does appreciate you. And I just realized now, man, I have so much more peace when I've gotten certain people out of my life, and I don't I mean because over the years I've given certain people time after time after time, forgiving over and over again, understanding, oh, they're just young, oh, they just need this, they just need that. And to a point, I'm like, no, this is just who you are. And now you realize who you are. Now you making me think something different about you. You make me thinking something different. I don't even look at you as a coach, as a mentor or coach to fighter. Now I look at you as a different person. And when I start looking at you different, then that's dangerous for me because I start looking at you as an enemy. I start looking at your opposition because of who you are. And so my brain and my brain waves of how I feel about you start thinking. So now I know I got to stay all the way away from you because I see that you're destructive, you're uncaring, you're unruling, you're disrespectful. And it's just, I won't deal with it, man. And I noticed that ever since I start living by this code, my life has been so much more at peace. You know, and I see everything. I know everything. I know everything's going on, but that ain't got nothing to do with me because I got to be over here. I got a daughter to take care of, right? I got peace to have. I got people that need me to really be, that really need me for me to go out there and help them, to be worried about somebody that don't value me, and don't value anything. These people will sit up there and watch you drown, brother. They'll sit up there and watch you hurt, watch you be in pain, and then watch this, even talk about you,
Mhm.
even laugh at you, even do things behind your back that are so demonic and so unruly. And when you hear these things that they're doing, you're like, damn, you devil son of a gun. But you see, you know what? God has something else. See, I see it and I watch it and I pray against it and I said, okay, we're going to do something different. And I'm going to keep it pushing because at the end of the day, you didn't make me. You didn't build me. I was coaching before you probably was born, probably coaching before you even started fighting. And I'm going to keep living my life regardless. You got to do, just like if I do anything wrong to anybody, did anything bad, I got to reap what I sow. So that means that you got to do the same thing. So if you're doing that, so like you said, the game has changed. The game has changed so much. We don't have that. We don't have that honor no more. We don't have that respect. They'll tell you that they respect you. They'll tell you that they appreciate you. They'll tell you that they love you. But the actions shows otherwise. And so
I think
now, go ahead.
full circle. I think everything will come full circle eventually.
Yeah,
I'm a firm believer in that. I believe as the game rises, the skills getting better, there's gonna come a time when people want to start searching out. Like, wait a minute, man, I can't deal with you, man. You forgave me. You have no resume. You got no references that just gonna
right.
help me. So I can't deal with this. The game, the skill level is too high now. So they're gonna start searching out those that actually have that experience, that resume, basically that paperwork. Like, look, like I can pull out receipts. You can pull out receipts. I've taken this guy all the way from here to the top, to the elite. You have a history of doing that. And what'll happen is I think it's gonna come full circle. I think right now it's the time for the Fugazi, man. And I think right now they gonna have they having their time right now. So I just kind of sit there. What it does, it makes it easier for guys like us because to go ahead and coach against them and prepare against them, we can do that in our sleep, you know? So I think eventually they'll get washed away, just like Noah and the flood and stuff. They're gonna get
Absolutely.
washed.
Every
They,
time. Every
they
time. And
all,
you'll see later on, brother. You'll see later on how these people's lives turn out. Truthfully.
yeah, no,
A lot of them are miserable right
yeah.
now. They just can't really say it out loud. Trust me. A lot of them are miserable. I'm spiritual discernment. A lot of them are miserable right now. And let me tell you something. It all does come full circle. It never freaking fails. It always comes full circle. And they'll have to bite and eat every word, everything that they have done. They'll have to do that. And like I told a fighter, I said, hey, I'll be here coaching. You know, you're not gonna fight for him, but I can. I'm 47. I can
Yeah.
coach till I'm 67 if I want to. I can coach till I'm 70 something if I want to. If God will, I can coach until the day that I die if I wanted to do that. So you got to see, what is your life going to do after that? You know what? This is the worst sport you could be in to be a fucked up human being, because the karma in this is going to show up in the cage. It's going to show up in the ring. It's going to show up in your regular life. It's going to show up. You don't have to be revengeful. You don't have to do none of that,
You're gonna
because
get
these people, they
hurt.
do that. They destroy themselves. They do it themselves.
Yeah.
You know, we are our own best friend, and we are our own worst
Well,
enemy. And I see
karma,
that.
the karma is you're going to get another human being hurt. That is what you're potentially doing. Every knockout that is caused by your lack of ability, a lack of coaching. Now, obviously, we know in the game, you know, things that happen in all plans, you know what I mean, can subject to fail. But if it's because of a lack of coaching, you're finding yourself getting guys hurt and getting their brains altered, that type of karma is going to stay with you for a long time. And eventually it runs out. If you can think back to when you was in it, and that's why I say everything comes full circle. I can think back to, I knew people that had a run, and people used to say they not real, man. They you know, they kind of faking the funk, to say basically they not a real one. You know, they just bullshit. And they had a little run, and they was getting a little spotlight. Then and now I look at it, and I don't even know where they are, what they doing. Never heard from them again. They slowly faded away. Here I am. I'm still here. I'm sitting there
Still
telling
here.
you still here. There's
Still here.
always going to be that in everything. It's unfortunate that it's prevalent in our industry, meaning that I can't pretend to be an NFL coach to get an NFL job or an NBA job or any other sport. It's sad that in combat sports, where the whole nature of the sport is to inflict physical harm on another human being within a certain rule set, that we would have the most in terms of like unqualified people leading the charge and, you know, leading these guys in the battle. But it is what it is. I do think, though, there's going to come a time where people are going to have to start showing resumes, references, and they're going to have to start pulling out receipts. I'd personally like to do it. I'm just a little old right now, to the point where I'm like, not to the point where I really care about it. But there's a time where I like to go out there and start pulling these guys' cards, man. Like, yo, show me your paperwork, man. Put it on the table right now. I need to see it. Pull your phone out. I need some contacts, who you work with. And not because it's an ego thing for me. It's because I truly care about fighters. Like, as a fighter, I know what having bad people guiding you can be like. I know what, you know, seeing from my peers. I know what bad coaching. I have a friend who had his brain severely altered because he didn't have the right coaching going into a fight. So seeing things, I have an extra thing, you know, and I very much care when I'm in the corner. When the guy loses, it probably hits me harder than it hits the fighter.
Yeah.
So these,
let me tell you what bothered me, man. I lost a friend of mine who was a coach. A few of them. He died.
Okay.
A few coaches that died that I know, friends, when I was coming up. The boxing game, man, a lot of these MMA dudes don't even know. I come up, when I first started coaching, I started coaching in boxing. A lot of the people in the boxing game didn't know that I had the pedigree or the credentials I had in martial arts. But I started coaching in boxing. And what I noticed with a lot of those coaches, man, and boxing coaches, there were guys that were broke down, didn't have no money, cars barely worked, had full-time jobs, family, but would show up to that boxing gym every day to help these kids and make them good and make them great, only for those guys to leave and go somewhere else. And one of my good friends died, Ricky Sanchez. He was a really good coach, but I seen it in his eyes, man. These guys just stick around for so long when they're not getting nothing in return. They stick around so long without getting no money, with being broke and being talked down, being talked about, built these guys up, and they go somewhere else. And then my buddy died. He died of COVID. And it's like, a lot of these guys die with nothing. One of my other coaches' grandson shot and killed him. And he was the one that raised this kid from the ground up. And he shot and killed him. He died with nothing. And that's one thing I see it. I said, no, no, no. You can say what you want to say, but I'm not going to die with nothing because I got a daughter and I got a son and I got a legacy to protect. So I don't need, my blessings come from God. I don't need no made man, piece of crap man to, 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 to tell me what I'm deserving, what I'm owed. No, I'm not going to die with nothing. So that's why I have to change my thinking, because I told myself, you fighters ain't worth a damn. You don't care about nobody. You coaches don't care about nobody. Everybody's out for themselves. So I have to learn. Okay, now let's flip the script. Now, instead of looking out for everybody else first, I got to look out for me. Because if I die right now, they might cry. They might go to the funeral for a little bit, and they'll be right back the next week trying to have sex with your baby mama, trying to mess with your trying to mess with your sister, laughing at you. They'll cry about memories, and they'll move on with their life in a matter of days. And what you meant to this world don't mean shit. That I tell you, if you want to know what a man's value, like you said, wait till he die, and they'll tell you everything about him. They could tell you how great he was. They won't tell you that shit while you're here. They won't tell you. They won't be thankful about all that stuff while you're here. They'll wait till you die. They'll wait till you die. You know what I'm saying? They'll step on you, step on you, step on you until they can't step on you no more. So you got to allow them not to do that. This game is dirty, brother. And this game is not what it is. It's disrespectful. It's dirty. And I can't stand it. And the more I see, the more I hear, the more I feel, the more I don't like what I see and want to be a part of. So I pick and choose who I want to be a part of. And when my brothers died like that, and their family had to find money to bury them, but none of these people that they coached, helped, trained, none of them that went out and do different things, helped the families, helped them do anything they need to do. And now they're just a gone long distant memory, and then on to the next. That's how this world is. And I refuse to let nobody treat me like that, period, point blank.
Well, I appreciate these conversations, man, as always, man. Looking forward to having more with you.
Yeah. Man. We're gonna guys, this is gonna be an ongoing thing. Look my brother up. Very good brother right here. Very good brother. And I've been told and asked a lot of times to do podcasts with people. And it just never hit me in my spirit until I thought about this brother. And I want you guys to go subscribe to our YouTube channel, Fighting is Life. And you're going to see a lot of these content. You'll see us on YouTube. You'll see us on here. We're going to be talking about a lot about fight talk, life talk, the coaching game like we did today, fighting. We're going to be breaking down fights. We're going to do a lot of things. And so, brother, I appreciate you coming on, and I appreciate this journey that we're about to start, man. And we're about to show the world a lot of good things, man. And we're about to work this thing out.
Always a pleasure, brother. All right. In the meantime, man, salute you, man. God bless, man.
God bless you. Likewise, man. Until next time, I'll see you soon.
All right, brother.
All right, bet.